All right, y'all. Today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to see for its local search and for its city search if it's got BSS, yes or no. So we're back here at the GBC universe. Where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, video on the homepage, wherever. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Now, way over on the left, we got our highest intent people. These are our, Google and social searchers. They're searching for a boudoir photo shoot, like in their city right now. So it's the highest intent peeps. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps. We got to reach them through interruption marketing, through, Facebook, Instagram. These people are not searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now, and nearly all of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. So we talk about that actually on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. And we talk about BLCS over there, and currently we only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But over here, we're all about the BSS, so let's see what that's about. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, we're dead, kind of out of the water. That means we're on page 2 or deeper. And as a result, we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market, which is the bulk of the market, no bueno. And 1 slot on page 1 Google is not good either, because we're looking like everyone else. We're basically invisible. Everyone else has got 1 slot, and there's 10 organic slots there. So that means basically 9 other boudoir photographers. So what's a buyer going to do? They're, approximately 80% of buyers. They're going to be just clicking down, opening the link to everyone's, to literally everyone's business, boudoir photography website, contacting everyone, submitting the contact form, getting a quote, price shopping, price hunting, comparing, negotiating, killing all our margins, and killing our business. So BSS, we do not know that. We do not want that. Now, 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal. It's common, it's accepted, but it's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. So 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about market saturation. Yeah, as people kind of, people just eventually get new gear, get new iPhones, get new cameras, then they're throwing up the Google Maps profiles and they shoot boudoir now. They're creating their websites and they shoot boudoir now, competing with us for page 1 Google search dominance. They are increasing, or, they're also posting in the mom groups and Facebooks and they now shoot boudoir. So it's just more boudoir photographers for the same number of buyers, making it harder for every other boudoir photographer to get clients. Now, the second part here is new. That's the false belief of page 1 equality. So it's kind of automatically accepted with boudoir photographers. It's kind of like, assuming or accepting every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots, page 1 of Google, and that's how it is. You gotta accept it, blah blah blah. And maybe we had a lower page 1 slot on page 1 of Google, and then new boudoir photographer came in, their website ranked higher, and then we are, now we're pushed to page 2. So it's like, well, that's simply the way things are. Hopefully that person deletes their website so it stops indexing on Google, and Google can bring us back up onto page 1. But actually, this line of thinking is incorrect, because I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search in only 10 days using our new methodology, which we'll get to in like 2 more pictures. But what it tells us is we got to break through this mindset or this false belief of page 1 equality, because it's not true. Google will actually literally give as many page 1 slots as somebody wants to put in the effort to acquire. And again, I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. Now, a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, so if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, approximately 80% of the market's never even seen us. Yeah, we're a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing. And if we got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, we're still basically invisible. We're looking like everyone else, no differentiation. We're getting price shopped, getting killed. Our margins are getting killed. I mean, we're wasting our time talking to all these people, and or disappearing boudoir photographer in that case again. And in both cases, this is like a warning light, kind of raising the red flag that our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing as well. But finally, we have a solution. We finally got a solution here. We have, after investigating and testing, we've learned that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. It's what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, in only 10 days. And interesting thing about this is the only strategy or methodology I've seen for boudoir photographers that can allow a boudoir photography business to grow in the presence, still grow in the presence of massive market saturation, and have it, be able to happen relatively quickly. The only other option is to have a strong, massively known brand, which takes 5 to 10 years, which does not satisfy the relatively quickly requirement because we no longer have any time. AI is here taking people's jobs. We got to dominate our city ASAP. We don't have time to build a 5 to 10-year brand. But interestingly enough, using S-cube methodology, by my estimate, probably 8x the speed of building a brand. And imagine if using S-cube methodology with a super well-known brand, basically undefeatable. So how does this strategy work? I mean, it's exactly as the name says, social search saturation, saturating social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city. And when we do that, that's kind of like it's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains. The snow is melting back there. They're in South America, and it's running off. You got small streams, small rivers. They all run off. They all collect into the Amazon River. So the Amazon River is page 1 of Google, but where everything starts, all our inputs need to happen is utilizing S-cube methodology, social search saturation. And, kind of an interesting example here is, let's say there's 1 million boudoir photographers in Atlanta, Georgia. And we're one of them. Everyone's competing. Everyone's got their boudoir website, trying to rank page 1 on Google. And we're like, all right, for us to compete, we gotta stop our potential buyers from even seeing any of our competitors. We gotta crank up S-cube methodology to the max. So let's say we are increasing, let's say we take over the first 300 slots across social search, across all the social platforms, and then that bleeds onto page 1 on Google. We got the first 300 organic slots on Google. Now it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, which means we're taking over the first 30 pages, and if approximately 80% of people ain't even going from page 1 to page 2, basically ain't nobody going from page 1 to page 3. Actually, they have to go to page 31 to essentially find one of our competitors. So if we're essentially on what peeps can find when they search on social media, when they search on Google, whose business will still be growing? Ours. Whose business will be shrinking? Well, the 999,999 other boudoir photographers will be shrinking. And as a result, S-cube methodology has allowed our business to continue to grow, even in a super saturated market, even with having no brand. But this actually helps us get a brand by my estimate 8x faster. So this is the magic of S-cube methodology for boudoir photographers. Next, once you're with S-cube methodology, we have page 1 visibility. So initial benefit, we get more slots page 1 on Google. Second initial benefit is we are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So they go to page 2 or deeper. Approximately 80% of buyers never even see them because approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only searches. Awesome. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. So this is where the GBC universe recommends us to get 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google, because when we're compared against everyone else with 1 slot, we dominate them. And super, super rare, but someone could have 2 slots. But if we got 3, we dominate them as well. So we're basically dominating in nearly all scenarios. Now, boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got our final mini micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. But now we know it's false. We can utilize our solution. Now we know the solution is S-cubed methodology. And we achieve page 1 visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now, my results utilizing S-cubed methodology, real quick here. I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. So I actually went to, I straight up used S-cubed methodology. And let's look at the organic So I started with 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google. Let's see, I got organic slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. So as a result, in 10 days, went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google for the search term I want to rank for. And these are my results utilizing S-cubed methodology. All right, main event here. I see this boudoir photography business, see if they got their local search or their city search, see if they got BSS for either of those. So we're going to East Hampton, Mass. All right. Going up here, East Hampton. All right, so let's see what we got here. Dun, dun, dun. All right, we got 1. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. And all right, so we got, all right, good. Local, we got 3. Got a recommended, we do not have BSS. We hit the 3 out of 10 recommended minimum. All right, now we're going to Springfield, Mass. Let's see what we're cooking up here. So, all right, we're at 0 out of 10 for our city search. So we got BSS for this one. So let's see. All right, so local search, we ain't got BSS, and we did reach the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1, Google search. City search, we got 0 out of 10 slots, city search. So yes, we got BSS, and we are not meeting the recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1, Google search for the city search. So if you're a boudoir photographer, disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got boudoir search sameness. You're seeing market saturation coming up. It's going to become more and more saturated. You know that page 1 equality is a false belief. You kind of didn't think about it before, but now you're like, yeah, dude. Why is everyone, why is no one trying to take more slots page 1? And you're seeing with the way AI is going, there's going to be taking more people's jobs, pushing more people to become boudoir photographers. On top of when they get a new iPhone, they're a new boudoir photographer, or if they get a new camera, they're a new boudoir photographer. And so you're seeing the last time a lot of people lost their jobs was COVID, and a whole deluge of boudoir photographers came into the market. So you're saying, all right, that's probably going to happen again. And you want to get prepared. And you're seeing that there's also back-end benefits of this S-cubed methodology that we haven't talked about yet, but you're seeing, hey, this S-cubed methodology, you want to use this, you want to keep rolling with it, because it can fight back against market saturation faster than any other solution. The only other thing would be, building a brand, but that takes years. And you realizing the other things on the back end of this is, if you got all these kind of bundles of keywords under your business, your brand that you're ranking for, that's a higher chance you show up in the AI search overview when you rank for all these keywords using the S-cubed methodology, and higher chance you rank for AI search as a back-end benefit. ChatGPT search, whatever, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, because they look for kind of bundles of keywords around a business, themes, thematic columns. And so you're like, man, I was able to get page 1 on Google and page 1 on all these search, social search, and kind of get the back-end benefits of higher probability of AI me being the only one AI overview or being included in AI search. Where the last time I used AI search to search for a boudoir photographer in a city, it gave me 3. Those are ChatGPT. It gave me 3. So a higher chance you become one of the three by having all these, the highest intent keywords focused, kind of thematically bundled as like pillars underneath your brand name. And you're also noticing that if some other boudoir photographer goes first to start using this in your area, then, well, you can't work with me anymore. So you'd have to figure it all out yourself and then equal them in work to maintain so they don't take over page one, or, most likely need to double them in work to actually make progress at getting more slots on page one that they were taking. So if you decide, okay, it's better just be the first goer and solidify your position, get the highest chance of basically being market saturation proof, busting that false belief of page one inequality, then shoot me a DM when my DM's open. My DMs are closed right now. New patient intake at the hospital is currently closed. But when we do open up for new patient intake, shoot me a DM, we'll see if you qualify, and I'll have some questions for you.